which is okay. Which is
Okay. I'll start the recording now because this is Sunday. I know everybody don't want to be on the call for forever this evening. So, Candace, I'm Vanda Crossley. I am a realtor here in Katy, Texas. Kirk, the
Okay.
other guy, well, Kirk on there, he's my husband. He's up in Chicago. So we do rehab properties and we got the development bug.
Okay.
So my vision, I don't know if you looked at any of the information that I sent you about the community housing that I want to do.
I was just told that it was community housing and then the location, I think, Kendall, am I saying that right? Let's
Fort
see.
Bend County.
It is Fort Bend County. Yeah. Dallas mentioned it was Kendleton. Is
Yeah,
that
yeah,
right?
we're thinking of Kendleton.
Okay.
So we have a core group of people who are wanting to pool our resources and get a community, and we just kind of want to know the next steps and who is like somebody to manage the project. And you were referred to me from Cashmere, attorney.
Oh yeah, Cashmere.
Yeah, attorney Cashmere. So
appreciative of that.
yeah, I've been knowing her a couple of years and value her opinion. And so
well, I'll have to call her and say thank you for sure. So if there was a significant amount of information or anything that was sent outside of that to Dallas, I apologize, I don't have it, but I can get with him. I can tell you about Iron and somewhat of the process for a development. And then you guys, I would also like to learn about you guys, where are you at in the process? I do understand the co-housing, but what does that look like? What are your goals? What is the sizing? What's the timing look like? And if you've discussed any of this already with Dallas, I have not had a chance to download the information. So I'll just start. My name is Candace McGuire. I own Iron Projects. So we're a design build company. We are basically concept to occupancy. We're start to finish. And so that means that when you guys are looking at land and locations, we can come in and help with feasibility, any kind of investment packages or lender packages that you may need to get full funding. But we look at the overall concept of the development, put together the design. We do land planning as well. So that's your survey, your topo, like a meets and bounds if you need it, and replatting land as well if you're planning to sell it off, depending on the tract that you purchase. And so we do the land planning. We also do permitting and general contracting as well. So from start to finish, single point of accountability, we manage the entire process. I am oh Lord, I'm about to age myself. Hold on real quick. Hold on, let me count. It's been a number of years, man. They're growing on me. Okay, I'm 21 years in, sorry, the number keeps growing. It doesn't go the other way.
You're a veteran now.
Yeah. Yes, I could just say a couple decades. No, so I have a civil engineering degree by education. I've been doing project management and construction management for, those amount of years. I started in oil and gas, and in 2019, I moved to commercial as well as residential, new development, and major renovations. I do have your email address. I can send out some information about our company and some of our portfolio projects as well, just so you have that. You have our references, and you're free to call them. I do focus a lot on project management of industrial projects. I chair a green energy company as well. And we do, we've got some solar and green hydrogen projects that I manage.
Awesome.
As well
Awesome.
as
that's important.
Yeah. So that's more kind of tapping into the oil and gas core experience that I have. But for Ion, we do a lot of, I prefer the commercial. So commercial is going to be, you know, more than 4 residential. We have subdivisions as well as on the commercial side for like retail. So we've done some restaurants, daycare. Let's see, I'm trying to think. We've got some townhome community, and we've done a new build church. I'm on my second one. We have a project right now with Wheeler Avenue, doing a new build for their transportation building. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So as far as the development process, it is obviously ideal to know where you guys want to develop and then what your plan looks like. Dallas did tell me potentially 10 acres of land and maybe 50 homes
Yes,
there. And then also understanding, you know, what are the utilities, what's the area already have there. But I mean, you're a realtor, so you know probably a lot of this. But when we look at it from a feasibility standpoint, I'm usually just looking at the major, you know, cost hits, impacts. And so that's going to be your utilities, proximity to electricity, water, drainage. What does that look like? What are the requirements from a permitting standpoint? Because City of Houston is very different than City of Pearland versus Fort Bend and, you know, Katy. So understanding what the permit requirements are when you guys are looking at your land as well. But then also, I mean, when I'm looking at 10 acres of land and you want to potentially have 50 homes, I do a rough calculation, and that's potentially, I did this the other day, hold on, 3,560 times 10 acres. I'm gonna go conservative divided by 50. That's like 56 to 6,000 square foot tract size. So I don't know what size homes you guys, what lot sizes you were interested in, but I did that very conservatively with some common amenities and things for buildable land. And so the process would be just to kind of understand exactly where you want to go, the size. Then we would probably bring in, I like to work with civil first, not necessarily architectural, but civil, to do an engineering assessment. I need to understand your utilities. What kind of, you know, is it going to be like an HOA system? What does the area require? So like, is it a mud district for utilities? Are we dealing with CenterPoint more than likely on the electrical side? So just the full assessment, they come in and they then tell me the amount of homes that we could potentially have based on what you want. So common amenities obviously take up, you know, the home, the size of the home that you can have, or the tract size. But that's also up to you guys. So
you said you were familiar with co-housing?
I'm familiar with what Dallas sent. I mean, just the just overall term. I get it that, but I don't necessarily. I'm not going to say that I specialize in co-housing. We do subdivisions, and I feel like it's, you know, maybe you can educate me there. But I've seen, you know, that it seems somewhat similar. But you guys will be actually living in this space, right? And in this community, correct?
Yes. So we want like a mixed use. It wanted to be some commercial, a co-housing unit, and then some single family homes. So it's kind of a mixture. And then some of the business owners may want to live there in a small a barn dominium that could be a bunkhouse, or a small home. I don't want to call it a tiny home, but just a 1 bedroom, 1 room home, maybe 1,000 square feet. starting at like 99,000, going up to about 400,000. And we want it to be like a retreat spa area and also be able to grow, vegetables and fruits there.
So the mixed use part of it, what does that look like?
Let's say you
What
have a
kind of-
spa, like a spa owner, a restaurant, beauty shop.
So retail, so like a strips, maybe, yeah, retail on the bottom. And then is it living on top or?
Yes,
Just
so
the
there's a
area.
community that's being built now out in Richmond called Indigo.
Okay,
Are you familiar with that? You've heard of that one?
no, but I am familiar with the area. And so this
Okay.
is kind of how you want to, model it after?
Yes, except a smaller version, not as many acres as they have, but a
Okay.
smaller version. So with maybe no more than 30 homes. 30 to 50, depending on the amount, and all that depends on the amount of land we get. So that goes back to the amount of money that we need to
Okay.
get started. So with your company, I know there's like a retainer fee and, how does that work? How does the payment work so that we know where to start? We kind of got our vision. We just need to know, okay, now what do we do? Because we don't have, $5 million to get started with this.
Are you guys already working with a lender?
Well, I'm a lender and I have.
You're the lender. Okay, sorry.
That's okay. I'm a realtor and a lender.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay. And of course, we want to do some crowdfunding and things like that too.
Okay. I take a lot of notes and I'll summarize them a little bit later with my team. So sorry about that.
That's okay. I'm taking notes too.
Okay.
We had a couple
So on
people-
from a lending standpoint, then then I would pose the question back to you, what all do you need to get fully funded? Usually, if I'm working with a developer and they have a lender, there's a lender pack that we might develop up front, like working with an architect. Let's say it's a single family home, working with an architect up front. So we'll understand the land, we'll have high level schematics, understand the utilities there. And it's just a certain pack that we put together, and then that goes to the lending company. We don't deal a lot with the lending company. Usually the owner or the developer does that, but we can put together the information, the package, the drawings that are necessary for that.
Yeah, they want to know who you're going to be working with. Who are these people? What do you have? What you bringing to the table?
Yeah. And sometimes, it depends on the amount of money that they require down too. So sometimes the soft costs aren't necessarily financed. And so that's where we come in, where we do all of the upfront engineering. And I've seen where the lender requires the area to be permitted out before they kick in as far as money is concerned. And so that in that instance, then, all of the design and permitting, replat, land planning, or whatever would have been paid for by the developer up front.
Okay. So all the land, I know the land acquisition.
Yeah, so I'll just tell you the way that I've seen it. I've seen it where, if you already have the land, that you can get 100% financing on the development. So I've seen that. I've seen where folks come in and buy the land, like a number of acres, and they'll develop like a single building first, and then go back and get funding on like the appraised value with that development already on it to be able to fund the rest of the project. I've seen it, go in phases like that. And then, if you're financing the land and the development, I've seen where it's about, I think they want you to have more skin in the game there, right? There's no collateral there. You don't own the land. So I've seen where it's like 65, 75% of what they'll finance, but it's after the permit is already obtained. And that's why sometimes it's easier to do, you know, like a single building, one of the, let's say if you have, you know, on your mixed use or one, you know, an area of the homes that you want to develop, like do it in phases so you can finance it that way. So that's up to you guys, what makes the most sense. But I can tell you, as far as we would be concerned, I would want to be able to bring on at least a project coordinator, or a project manager, who's ever available at the time, myself or even another gentleman, his name would be Maverick. And then also I would want to get a civil to be able to understand. Normally, we would want to know the piece of land first, so we could actually start assessing the exact tract and, you know, what you've got going on there. But we can just do, you know, a layout if you'd like to do that for a certain amount of acres. But it would largely be, you know, it's schematic, it's generic, it's not based on any specific location.
Right, right.
And
Yeah,
it could change based on the location.
yeah.
So
What's the
that, I mean,
what's
that's
the
where we would
biggest-
want to start.
What's the biggest project you've done?
Well, so I mean, that's hard to answer because on the industrial side, those are billion-dollar projects. So from a commercial and residential side, we've done, let me pull up my list.
You said you have done developments, like community developments.
Let me pull up my list. I'm sorry, I'm terrible off the top.
Anybody have any questions? Hi, Toysha. Hi, Anicia. No? All right, we don't know what we don't know, so.
Yeah, I had a question. This is Toysha. I am interested in knowing what other ways that some of the developments are like governed, because I know, you know, when we talk about building, everyone always go to HOA. I can tell you particularly, I was a board director for 6 years, HOA board director, not really interested in the HOA structure. What other legal structures have you seen being implemented in as far as governing, like the to maintaining the value of these developments?
That I would have to get back to you on that question. I'm not an expert there, but we do work with a group that does some of the community agreements, community like the management side of it. But I would have to defer that to them. But I can get back to you on that question.
Okay, thanks.
You guys don't want to go with an HOA? Do you want to just put like community requirements on the development and not necessarily have a central management group?
The reason, I can tell you my reasons why. I mean, I intimately know.
Okay.
What I found, and I don't know who all will be in the neighborhood. HOAs can be like a mini tyrannical government. If it's not selected by the right people, ran by the right people, that's kind of what people are wanting to get away from. That makes you feel like you don't have the freedom. It's not about the property value being upheld. I mean, it's way deeper than that. I think what I've seen HOAs do, and a lot of them do this is why they're looking at HOA reform, is the whole side of how it's governed. What's written in it and how it's governed. It becomes more of a profit and less about people. When you purchase a home where you live, it has a lot to do with the characteristics of the people in the neighborhood, and that's not what HOAs take care of. And so I'm looking at something, maybe like a community agreement that can be set up to where we can do something like that, like the HOA, but where the traits of what makes HOAs undesirable as far as how they feel and people not really having a say in how their property and their neighborhood is governed can be done differently.
That's something
Yeah.
that we'll talk about as a group though, because the people that's going to be living there will be making all of those rules and regulations.
Yeah, the bylaws, setting up the bylaws prior to purchase.
Yes.
And also having them understand deeply what those bylaws mean. Because I can tell you probably 85 to 90% of people who are in HOAs across the country, I would say even across the globe, don't really know what they're signing up for. They don't really understand to what extent that they're, what they're agreeing to when they purchase their property.
So many papers that we give them to sign, they just sign, they don't read that stuff.
So we have dealt with, okay, I finally have my documents up. Sorry about that. We have dealt with, on the developer side, making sure that there are some restrictions and requirements, during the development side, like even having to go to the county clerk and get those recorded and making sure that it's a requirement. And so when you do start to sell off the properties or whatever, it is a requirement on their close. But I am not an expert at that, but I can get some more information.
Thank you.
And I put that note down. So I'm going to run through our company info. Can I have so many screens up. I'm sorry. Can I share?
Yeah.
Am I able to share? Yeah.
You should be now.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Can you see?
Yes.
Okay. So to yeah. So to answer your question regarding the size of the projects that we've done one that's similar. We've done, it was the feasibility and upfront. That's what I'm saying as far as the lender information. It was for a subdivision. And it was for 14 acres. You may be familiar with Cane Island.
Yes.
There's a tract of land there that we dealt with the homeowners there, the landowner actually, and it's the only piece of land that's kind of been held out in that subdivision. And they were looking to develop it or sell it. And so we did the overall feasibility schematics as well as lender pack, and they ended up putting it on hold. And I think they had some personal stuff going on. It was a husband and wife team. And that was one that we did a few years ago, actually. I've also done the feasibility and initial design set for a 8.5 acre tract in Hiram Clark area. It was pretty similar. It was mixed use as well as residential. It was like a plaza. And I mean, like I said, on some of the oil and gas side, it's obviously much higher. These projects end up going to the $1 billion, hundreds of millions and $1 billion range. Let me see. I'll screw through some of our pretty quick projects. So this is I have to move some things off my screen real quick. Okay. So this is in Hiram Clark. This is Buffalo Commons. It was an abandoned retail strip centers, 9,300 square feet. And we basically took the face off of it, gutted it out, and came back with the facility that you see at the bottom here. It went back to a cold shell. We cleaned up the entire place. And so now they have been leasing it out. This is townhome community that we did, Harrisburg. It's in Edo area, new development. These townhomes are 4,400 square feet, non-AC, but 27 AC. And this is the multipurpose facility at Wheeler Avenue. They've got transportation and boys and girls club activities. If you're familiar with Wheeler, they've got the main campus on the Wheeler Avenue side. This is off of Ruth and Blodgett, some of their overflow buildings. This was the mixed use plaza that I was talking about. We would do something similar for your community, obviously just lay it out and see what's possible. This is building sizes versus, green space and common amenities, parking, pools, and whatever have you, garage. And they were planning office space as well as restaurants on their land. Fellowship of Believers, this is in Pearland. This is just some of the more relevant projects that I pulled up real quick. Fellowship of Believers, a church. They've got a 4-acre campus and they're doing their projects phased. They've got 4 buildings planned. These are just 2 of them. They've got a gym and a larger sanctuary that they're planning over the next year or so. But we just finished the sanctuary project. And then this is on the hydrogen, the renewable side. So more on the industrial side. When you get into industrial, like I said, these projects are quite large. They're hundreds of millions to the billion-dollar range. When you do those types of projects, it is a very large team. On the commercial and residential side, our team size is probably like 4 to 5 at most. And I can send you all this information. If you, Kashmir sometimes sends out our information ahead of time. Do you already have any of our documentation? Are you still there? I can't.
I was on mute. I was just talking.
Oh.
Yeah, I was saying very impressive. Yeah, no, she didn't send me anything.
Okay, so this is our About Us document. I mean, it just kind of tells what we do. Like I said, residential, new development, industrial, commercial. I can send you this document as well. It lists all of our services similar to what's on our website. And I can send you some past projects. I'll send you these documents. It will be our project list. This is my resume. You're welcome to have that as well. Our About Us pack. And let me see. Sorry. I can move it.
Very nice background projects. I would like the information.
I'm sorry.
I'm reading the message chat. They said they all want the information. So when she sends it to me, I'll forward it to you guys.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can't. I'm not able to see that at the same time or look at you guys and share. Sorry about that. And then this is just our capability statement. We've done some on the government contracting side too as well. So and our references, like I said, you're welcome to call anybody on there and check us out. But I will send that over.
When I talked to Dallas, he said that you guys also help with acquiring funding.
Oh, well, I have a lender that I work with, and he can, you guys can talk to him. we've dealt with a couple of banks actually on past projects that I could recommend as well. But specifically, I usually just go to a particular, actually, he's a broker. I usually go to him. I can link you with him though.
Okay. Anybody have any
Is the oh, sorry.
crowdfunding? Go ahead.
Is that something that you guys are, have you guys ever done that? Do you have a source already for that to facilitate that?
No.
How
but
are you gonna go about doing that?
We do need assistance with that.
Okay, so can I ask a couple questions? What's the time frame for this? Your
For
project?
completion or for
Um,
restarting or what?
yeah, well, yeah, let's break it down in I guess,
3 to 6
in
months to
sections.
initially start, and then have that, at least that one structure or something, the land acquired and something on it by 3 years.
That's potentially a phase or completion,
Like you said, one structure on it.
at least the one.
Yeah,
Okay,
that
yeah,
would be the
sorry.
first phase, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you can definitely do that. That's doable.
I'm hoping we
Oh.
find some land that already has a structure on it and we won't have to deal with that, but. And then I want something off market too. So I haven't done any marketing yet to try to see what's for sale out there. I do have someone who has some family that have some property and airship out there. So I'm kind of waiting to see how that's going to play out.
Okay, was the 10 acres just an idea? Have you guys already kind of looked at it and laid it out of what you want there? You said, I wrote down, you know, obviously the mixed use, but you know, mixed use could be, if you're familiar with like I live on the southwest side. So, you know, Pearland, Sugarland, Missouri City, all of that. Pearland Town Center, you know, they have the living units up top, and then they've got, you know, some of the retail at the bottom. Are you guys, are you trying to do that, or is it just within the 10 acres having retail and residential?
No, like that. You'd have retail in the front and then residential behind it. Not throughout it.
Okay. But not stacked though, just separate.
Yeah, it can
Okay.
be stacked. And we definitely want lots of trees and, you know, nice luxurious homes. Even if they're small, they're going to be nice.
You said 30. Dallas had mentioned 50.
30 to
Is that-
50.
Okay.
30 to 50.
Is there a
All that
size?
all that depends on the size of the
Yeah.
property. Yeah.
Right. Obviously. Yeah. So the 30, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean
I can send you the pitch deck. If Dallas didn't send it to you, I'll send you the pitch deck, and remember, it's a work in progress.
oh no, I don't have a pitch deck. But he sent me a number of emails. So I'm hoping I didn't miss that. But no, I don't believe I saw a pitch deck.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, if you could send me that. What was I going to say? What size of the homes though are you interested in? What type of homes?
Well, we want to do
you said
everything
single-
kind of modern, so maybe like some boxable homes, 1 bedroom to start, and then go up to 3 and 4 bedroom homes, depending on what the people want. Who's going to be a part of the ownership of the community.
Okay, you mentioned barn dominium as
Yeah.
well.
Like Toysha wants a barn dominium, And I want to have some, smaller homes there. And then there's someone else, they're not on the call now, but they want a 3-bedroom home. So it'd only be maybe 3 to 4 types of homes in this community.
Okay. And then, have you thought about like common amenities outside of the commercial, properties?
Like a pool, yes.
Yes, pool and, let's see, pool, sometimes there's trails, there's, parking is going to be a consideration too. When you have retail, you have to obviously have a certain amount, but then you have residential, so, are we going up at all, or is it just individual tracks? If we start to go up, we sometimes look at parking garages versus, versus surface parking, more for the commercial part of it, the retail, as opposed to obviously the homes. You would
Yes.
have your own parking.
We would go
I-
up.
Okay.
Nicia, you
Okay.
have your hand up.
Do you guys, like, if someone wants to work with your development company, do you have like a sample checklist that the clients would need prior to meeting with you guys to see if it's a good fit for both?
Just for new development?
Yes.
Yeah, Dallas has a checklist we can send to you. It asks certain questions, just dot prompt your questionnaire. Is that what you're?
Yeah,
you
because I know you guys like need certain things ahead of time to see, if me or you are both a good fit to work with one another based on a project that I want to do.
Yeah, so I'll tell you right now, when I take like new client calls, initially I'm usually asking a bunch of questions. It is a little bit, it's a little bit tougher not having the piece of land identified. So if we did know, the piece of land, I'm looking at the track size, the location. I want to get on, if it's Houston, I'm looking at HCAD or whatever appraisal authority to understand the actual property lines, understand the permitting jurisdiction. I want to understand, I want to put together a realistic timeline based on, what the actual project is. And then I'm usually looking to pull in a team. And I know for this one, I'm looking to definitely have civil engaged first. We can work with the architect if you've got your preferred suppliers or vendors, that's fine. We have multiple teams. What I'll tell you as far as the way that I work is we don't work with specific suppliers, like one specific supplier. Depending on the project, I'm looking for someone who has relevant experience. So I don't work with one architect, I work with 6 or 7. It just depends on what the project is, because every architect is not commercial. They have their expertise in commercial or residential or restaurants or whatever have you. I just want to make sure that we put together the team that's specific to what your needs. So when I start asking all of these questions, it's because I'm trying to already form the team in my head. Like, okay, this one has this specialty and they can do it in this timeline. Because with a project management background, I'm trying to move the project along. And a lot of times we can get hung up in certain aspects of the project. So we're always trying to push forward with the information that we have. And so if you're telling me that it's, 3 to 6 months to be able to push forward, and then also on the 3 years, I want to make, which is very doable. And if anyone tells you that it's not, that's not true. It's very doable.
I have another question for you. Do you guys have a minimum budget far as the projects that you guys are willing to work on? Do you have like, okay, if it's under this amount, we can't work on it?
No, if we don't take it, we have partners. And so I met Kashmir through Neil Harris, and he's the owner of Big Construction. And they do a lot of residential like remodels, so fix and flips and, rehabs. I don't take on a lot of single family home rehabs, but he does, and he's really good at it. And so if we don't take it on, I'll partner with him or I'll work with him from a residential standpoint. But no, we don't really have a minimum. It just depends on what it is. Now, I will say we're not handyman. Like I won't take on a job where it's just, trying to come in and have us do a little patch job or whatever, because it takes more resources than than it's actually worth for us to do. We do major remodels on the commercial and residential or new development. But I can always
website for
refer.
your company? Okay.
I can always refer.
What is your company's direct website?
IronDesignBuild.com. I can put that, let me see, I can put it in the chat there. Design Build.
Yeah, Kashmir just sent me a picture of your card, and then I shot you an email.
Okay.
And then Dallas called me.
Is he calling you right now?
No. We talked the other day.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I think I wanted to add to, Vanda, we have not had a chance to talk about, I guess, the commercial side. And I don't know if I shared just kind of my vision. I know you guys are familiar with the Katy Asian Town out here in Katy, how it's themed out. It has a cultural theme of all Asian businesses of different sorts all over the globe that they've developed in these areas. And so when I think of commercial and something that I envision, I think about something with a global Black theme, something like that. Something that's never been done or I've never seen done in this area here in Texas that I would like to, I guess, talk to whoever's going to be involved and to kind of entertain that.
That's a good idea. Would be kind of like Caribbean restaurant here, an African restaurant there,
Ethiopian,
a restaurant here. Yeah.
yes.
Soul food restaurant for American.
And so Katy, can I ask Katy, Asian Town, structurally, physically, is this something I can look at as, maybe an example, as well as the, what did we say? Richmond Indigo?
Yes.
Yeah, because like if you look at their structure is they don't have parking garages. Everything is flat. You have U of H, HCC, new campuses that's going around it. You have, Pop Stroke? I think that's something that is owned by Tiger Woods. You got Andretti's. But you have some of those things, and movie theaters kind of like snugged in there. Then you have like on this one side where there's an Asian, H Mart is a chain that I think started in New York. H Mart is the main anchor of the store. Then you have all of these other stores. To me, I've never heard of them. A lot of them, they look like mom and pops. I mean, I'm thinking they're mom and pops, but the way that they're done is done quite nicely. It's like on a corporate scale. And I was like, we can do this, even if we're mom and pops and we have a marketing team who kind of keeps that same theme for the whole complex and kind of help with whoever's going to rent and have their business there look immaculate in that area and bring out the true culture, the Black culture globally. Because I've seen them do it, and I've watched they're still filling in all of these areas, and it's just amazing. every business over there
Mhm.
has done really nicely.
Yeah, and as far as another reference, look at Co-Housing Houston over on the east side of Houston.
In Houston, okay.
And
East-
that's part
east-
of what we're doing. We're just forming and trying to figure out what we all want as far as a community. And so it's hard to get everybody together at one time. So we just meet every Sunday at 6 and just kind of talk about, whoever's on. We kind of just talk about what we want to do, but we need to move it forward. So I appreciate you coming forward, coming here today, Candace, to help us move forward so that we kind of know. Because we like, well, we need an engineer. Okay, yeah, we do. But before we need the engineer, we need the land. So
Yeah, because I mean, if I don't have the land, then I might actually prefer to just do the architect because it's all schematic at that point. I'm not looking at anything specific, any
okay.
numbers, any calculations, any utilities or anything like that. We're just looking at, what does that kind of feel like? And that's going to be, just a designer projector. So if we want to go that route, I can engage for, and everything would be just kind of guessing, but if we said 10 acres, what does 10 acres look like? I want to look at what the residential area would look like, what the retail area would look like. Are we going up? Are we doing flat? Kind of having those conceptual discussions.
Right.
But it's really not based on anything concrete, right?
Right.
So we could do that. That's again up to you guys. But yes, the way that I start is just assessing the property as well as what you guys have listed that you're interested in. I need to do a little bit of research. I am very interested in the Indigo, and now you've also mentioned Katy Asian Town and then the Co-Housing Houston. I want to look that up. When you talk about the certain businesses, that would be obviously on your group. There's tenant leasing agents and folks. Miss Crossley, I don't know if it's do you do the commercial leasing part of it? Would you do that
Yes,
part of
but
it?
these would be for them to own them versus leasing them. So they will own the commercial and they would own their residential that's connected to it.
Oh, okay. So all of the retail is owned by
Yeah.
the community. Got it. Okay.
That's how they're doing it in Indigo.
Okay. So and it would only be that they would be owned individually by your the resident.
By the, yes. So the way we were envisioning doing it is purchasing the say 10 acres and then dividing it up once we purchase it. So we
Okay.
have to make sure that that's, able to do that in that county and that city. And then to be able to put what we want to put there. So let's say I might want an acre and Toysha might want 2 acres, so then she would be buying her 2 acres from that 10 acres that we have. But then we would have the common area where we would put the commercial and then we would sell those off as well.
Okay. Give me 1 second. Now I worked with a developer that had a model like this. Hold on, I'm trying to see if I can find it. They had a pack. It's very dated. But I'd like to show it because I feel like it's similar. If you are going to own the certain amount of land for each resident there. Sorry, I do wish that I had all of this already ready to go in a presentation, but I think it's very relevant that we look at this one. Here it is. Okay. I'm going to share again. So what I'll say about this pack that I'm going to show you, it's not mine. It was a collaborative effort on a previous project, but I want to show you the way that they were doing this. It doesn't sound like it's the same concept, but when you say own a couple of acres here or a piece of land, a tract or whatever, if you are going to own the retail, it would just be understanding how you want to lay that out, because the easiest way to do that is to own that certain tract of land. So if you're going to do retail and residential, this is this is investor 1 here, investor 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. They have their individual tracts of land. I don't know if you want to, ultimately subdivide that out, replat it to where they have, that is their piece of the 10 acres. We can figure that out, but I can show you what this group was planning to do.
Did they succeed?
COVID.
Oh,
COVID's dried up all of their commercial funding.
oh,
And
wow.
so they never revisited it. But it was pretty cool concept. Let me see. All right. Can you see that?
I do.
I kind of scroll quickly. Let me slow down. Let me see. Okay. So they took a pretty large piece of land. This is like 8 some odd acres. And they were looking to subdivide it they were looking to build commercial. It was all mixed use, and they wanted to have individual tracts that were owned by investors. So this particular project, they had looks like 9 individual tracts of land. So the way that we read this is, here's all of the numbers, the different tracts, 9, 6, 7. You can see it on the side, 8, 5, 4, 1. The way it's broken up here by the black lines, that's an individual tract of land owned by an investor, right? The overall property was 8 point some odd acres, but they were going to replat and sell off these individual tracts. And whatever they wanted to do, but they laid it out to where, they had retail in this area, which is on the south side. They had mixed use. This was going to be residential as well as some retail on the bottom. And then they had a pool and walking trail as well. And then there's also some retail buildings here in let me see if I have a pointer here. Let me go hand. Can you see where my hand?
Yeah, number 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they have retail. They were planning a restaurant here, the entry to their plaza. They've got common driveways and access as well. It was what they could build and how it was laid out was determined by the developer initially. And like I said, he was selling off the commercial pieces of land. But the way they were going to do it is this area in the gold. They were buying the land and developing this single piece first. And so then they would be able to, like I said, on the financing side, they've got a structure, they've got land, they were going to refinance and be able to pull some of that money to do some additional work for the developer. He had 2 or 3 other tracks in here. But every individual investor was responsible for their development. It was just all kind of governed by the requirements that are laid out here. The initial developer laid out exactly which buildings, which types of buildings that they could have, and then he was going to sell them off. But they would be part of this plaza, and they would have like HOA type restrictions. And so I don't know, it doesn't sound like it's exactly like this, but it could be something similar. You guys go in with your 10 acres, you work to, you know, look at a concept and get a schematic together where you guys all agree on, look at how you're going to subdivide the land. Then we work on, you know, the replat process, but you're all working together as a community with, you know, certain restrictions and guidelines.
Right.
Um,
And we want to live there, so.
yes. And see, a lot of this was retail and office. The only residential was down at the bottom. It was going to go up. It was a 3-story mixed-use residential and retail. But the rest of this was going to be a restaurant, and it was a drive-through. You can see that they made the accommodations to make sure that this was a restaurant that they could have, you know, drive-through here. Whereas this could have, that could also probably been maybe an office building up in the front. But we've called out, you know, what those properties were, you know, multi-purpose office. They did have a sizable, you know, detention requirements. That's going to come into play as well. We were going to have a large green space, which they were going to put like a stage where it's like a common, I don't know out here, but just an open area where they could have activities or live shows.
Yes, what
But
they
it
call the
also-
green space.
Yeah, yes, with the stage. They were going to put a stage here as well. And so they could have those activities. But it does also, you know, factor into the detention requirements in the calculation there. So a lot of the green space. So when I'm looking at 10 acres, I do a quick calculation and try and see, you know, whether the 30 houses or the 50 houses, what that tract size looks like. I'm making accommodations for some of this, you know, necessary drainage requirements, as well as, you know, just some of the common amenities that you guys will have.
Mhm. And how many acres is this?
8 point, don't get me in line, hold on, 8.3, I believe. And so, you know, all of the demographics and all of that, it was the commercial realtor. I don't normally handle that, but on a feasibility side, we I don't have it listed, but it was about 8 to 8.5. Yeah.
Okay.
The only reason I wanted to show it is because you mentioned you guys owning the individual tracks. And I think if you go forward with that, then it's easy to kind of just lay out, okay, investor 1 has, you know, two acres up here in this north corner, or, you know, investor 2 and 3 are coming across the front, you know.
Exactly.
You know, whatever that looks like. But you did already mention that you wanted retail in the front. I think I wrote
Yes.
that down. Yeah. So, you know, street, that's advertising, right? That's right up front. Street frontage, you know, you have those businesses right there, prime real estate, depending on where you're located. But yeah, having the retail up front, and then also, you know, coming down into the community, having the residential.
Okay, so what would you say our next step should be?
Well, ideally for me, Kendleton, knowing the area is fine. It gives me some information on like, permitting requirements. It's one of the first things that I would check out. But I mean, Fort Bend, I know I just want to be specific to that particular area. But so if you're firm on that location, that's great. So just general location, size. I'm going to go off of 10 acres. Is there a possibility it would be less, or more is always fine. Less is a little tough.
Let's stick
Once
with
we
10.
start looking at laying it out, we don't want to get rid of any space, we need all of it.
I think the minimum we would want to go would be what, 7
Okay,
feet? At the minimum. Now, we found some land down in Guy, Texas, and we haven't rode down there to see it, but I've never heard of Guy, Texas before I
look,
started.
I'm Googling right now. Hold on, what is,
Before I started looking, it's.
hold on, what is
so,
Guy, Texas?
Yeah, I don't know the demographics or anything, or if that's a place where we need to be or not need to be. I know
It's-
Kendleton has a big African-American population.
Yeah, I had a question. I know there's different zonings from county to county, and I know when you get
Yes.
into Fort Bend, I know some of the creativity, a lot of the things, I know there's heavy zoning. That's something to consider, if, you guys are looking into, or we're looking into, the Fort Bend County area versus Harris County, there is some zoning, but it's not as strict. Are there any other areas, that you would recommend where there's not like, crazy zoning? Other counties that's close by?
So, yeah, Harris County, well, not Harris County. So there's City of Houston, and then there's Harris County. So Harris County is, to me, the easiest to get through on the permitting side, but City of Houston is a little bit tougher. And I know I've only dealt with Harris County on the extreme north side. And then there's, let's see, Pearland, they're zoning as well. Fort Bend, yeah. I don't know, is Katy? I can't recall if
Katie,
they have zoning, do they?
Katie is in 3 counties. We got Waller, Harris.
Oh, you have Waller,
Fort
yeah.
Bend.
Yeah, and I'm on the Harris County side, and I can tell you it's not as strict as down in Cinco, where everything is beige and one color.
That's
No,
Fort-
no
Fort
creativity.
Bend.
That's what I want. In my opinion, I'd like to get away from that.
Okay.
Yeah, it makes all the difference in the characteristics. That's why they're able to do this Katy Asian Town and have, some uniqueness on this side, because where it sits, it sits in Harris County.
Oh, okay, the Katy Asian Town is in Harris County. Well,
Yes.
but is it City of Houston? Do you know?
It's
Permitted
City of
jurisdiction?
Katy.
It's City of Katy.
Oh, it is City of Katy. Okay. Okay, and so you can see that's kind of why it's super important to understand, is because every county, every area, it's just going to be different. And so just knowing generally, then I'm able to kind of make sure that we understand what the restrictions are, what the requirements are, because it plays into how you execute a project. So when we look at timeline, I know, City of Houston, I know what that permitting and what their requirements are like the back of my hand. So it's just, we know that they can be a little bit tough, but I feel like if you know going in, you just plan for it. That's all. And so I'm not as familiar with Kendleton, but definitely, I mean, if it's just Fort Bend and no crazy requirements, right in that area, then we should be fine. I need to look at it though a little bit more. And I haven't, but I will. So next steps, to answer your question, understanding location. You've named a couple of them, and we'll look at that. We talked about the size, the tract size. And then we talked about some other things that you guys would want. Ideally, I would like to get a concept drawing, just similar to what I just showed you, that is just looking at the size and the placement. It would be like Legos. I mean, you're literally just kind of placing boxes at that, up in the beginning. And so at least you have some kind of visual on what, your area may look like. But keeping in mind, you do have to kind of, when we lay it out, we have to plan for, your utilities will dictate some of that. It can potentially change. But it would be nice to at least have some kind of sketch of what you guys may want to accomplish. I think on our side, I would want to, there's some research that I need to do. I'd like to come back with understanding the Indigo, Katy, Asian Town, and what those opportunities look like.
Okay.
I have like 4 pages of notes already. I think that I would like to put, a project coordinator as well as a design resource. That's would be my recommendation on this project to move forward. I can work with Dallas on what that looks like. But I think you guys meet every Sunday?
Yeah, I was just telling my daughter, I don't know if Sundays are good days. I like to relax and by the pool and cook out and smoke cigars with my hubby.
Well, the reason I say that is, I mean, if you have a date that you guys are able to meet weekly, then we can look at certain options and being able to get your feedback. And I was going to say, within 4 weeks, you should have something that, at least a concept. But it's dependent on, your team showing up and, making some suggestions. And it's not firm. It wouldn't be firm until you guys select your piece of land, but at least you have some ideas of a concept to move forward with. And then it allows you to also price it. How much are you going to go for funding? 7. Now, wait a minute. Are you funding the entire project together or individually?
Together.
Together. Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
so
Okay.
I'll tell them we need to get to meet for concept. We are meeting in person at Astor Farm to Table Thursday at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
It's in Katy.
Oh.
What part of town do you live in?
Missouri City.
Oh,
It may be a little bit tough to do that, but when is it? Thursday?
yeah. I think I invited Dallas also.
Is that this Thursday coming up?
Yeah,
At what time?
5.
5 p.m.
I'd be there till about 8 o'clock.
Okay, and this is your whole, how many are in your team? Did you say 10?
Well, I wrote down the people that are interested and who have come on and off on these Sundays, and we have 18 right now.
Oh, okay, 18
Yeah,
18.
it grew by a couple today.
investors.
So, you say 18 and then when it comes down to writing a check, it's not 18. So I want to get a good solid 10 at least.
Okay, and that's also going to dictate how you split up the land too, right? I
Yes.
mean, if you have 18 investors, are you looking at 18 individual tracts of land, or, you know, some are coming in together, or, you know, what that looks like. But I mean, um, like a retail, let's see. I know we were doing a standalone, like, commercial, like big box could be like 2,300 to 3 to 4,000 square feet. You know, and then you have whatever you need for parking or whatever. You could definitely still get, you know, some residential on that piece of land. It's 23, 6,000.
These would be like
Um,
mom and pop shops. It won't be no big box.
Would you do, are they connected though? Are you doing like a strip?
No, they'll be individual, but they'll have like a gap between them so that they do have their own
Piece of
parcel of
land,
land.
yeah. So let's say 6, and then residential. So yeah. Because I'm thinking about on the small side, 6,000 square feet. So that would include, you could do like 2,300. I've seen small, you know, some restaurants, some small commercial facilities. There's a standalone Chipotle. We were looking at the drawings the other day. It doesn't have to be a Chipotle. I'm just giving you an idea. It was a standalone Chipotle. It was like 2,300 square feet. I think overall with parking and everything, it may have been 10 to 12,000 square feet because it was all surface parking. So if you look at that, and then, you know, you want to put some residential on an acre, you're 43,560. On an acre, 43560, yeah. So an acre is 43,560 square feet. So if we look at maybe 10,000 on a commercial development, and then the rest, I mean, you still have 30,000 square feet for residential and what you want to do. So if you look at it like that, I mean, you could theoretically split an acre. You know, you can have half-acre tracts of land for folks. So just, you know, some things to think about. I would not be the one laying it out, but when I'm looking at, you know, comparable structures, that may give you some idea.
Okay. So reconvene in, well, 30 days or so, first part of, what's the calendar? June, what is this, June 11th? Maybe July, second week of July.
Well, I'll have Dallas follow up. And so like I said, I took a bunch of notes. I'll do my summary. I'll probably pass this to Dallas to follow up with, you know, getting the information emailed out to you guys, as well as understanding fully what our next steps are once I summarize this. But I believe in my mind, I would just like to start getting a concept for you guys together.
Okay.
Um,
When I send you the pitch deck, it'll give you a better concept as well. So where should
Oh,
I
okay.
send it to? Should I text it to you or email it to you?
Oh, email is preferred. I can put it in this chat, or I can,
Yeah, go ahead and
pretty
put it in the
sure
chat.
I have it in your email. Okay.
irondesignbuild.com, but yeah, what is your email address? I think I emailed you already.
Yeah, and that's fine. I'll put it in here. Any of your the folks on the call, you guys are welcome to email. Yes, someone put in here, Houston doesn't have zoning. That is correct. But some people don't like City of Houston because of the permitting process. I actually, I'm okay with it because I'm used to it. I'm used to them, so I know what to expect. It's the ones you know, I don't know that we have to know how to proceed with sometimes learning new areas. But I'm pretty familiar with most of the ones we discussed.
I don't want to be in Houston.
City of
no,
Houston.
Katy Harris County is what I was looking at. I know there's still a lot of land on the, like, what was the property that you said you developed, Cane Island? It's a lot of
so that's
property on
Waller,
that
I think.
side. Well,
Okay,
it's a
let me
lot of
see.
property, like, still on the, like 529. All those areas, not saying we want to go that far up, but it's still, some land, all around Katy, really, still. I'm not sure what county, but, that's an option. If it's, if we can.
So for that in Katy that you're thinking about, I would think that there wouldn't be residential or like the residential where we want to live. It could be some apartments there like they have in Asian Town.
It's, if you look at, I don't know if you saw the Mason Business Park. It's on the opposite side of Mason, close to the feeder. So inside of there, it's a business park. They just nestled some townhomes inside of there. Like, if you know where Tiff Streets is, right behind there, there's some livable townhomes that they're developing, but there's businesses all around it. Like, it's nestled inside of there. I think Noah's Events place is over there. There's different things over there. There is a strip of land, and I've been looking at it. Don't know what it is. Haven't come up for sale, but it's kind of right on across from there. I think it's New Park Drilling. That whole strip. Now, I know they're developing different where they're putting apartments in. Different things. But there's a strip from that part all the way to the street, all the way down along that bayou that nobody's touched. Don't know what they're gonna do with it, but that's a prime location. And you can put some type of livable structure, residential. Not sure if it could be regular houses or if it has to be townhomes, but I've seen them do it. They're doing it now on the opposite side, so it can be done.
Is this called Mason? I looked up Mason Creek Business Park right off the
That's it.
tip. Okay.
Yes.
They've got some apartments and a lot of business. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What specifically did you were we to look at over here? Which
It was on the opposite side behind. It's behind the Tiff Streets, the
Tiff
Fadi Mediterranean. There's a new townhome area that they built right in the middle, and you can't see it from the street. You have to go inside of the business park, but they're there. No one's, I mean, I don't, that they're not even occupied yet. But they're there, and I've seen that, and then they have apartments going around in some of the others. So maybe we can look at, if not, the bigger homes, maybe something like that, the co-housing that you were talking about, going inside of there. I don't know. It's just, I'm seeing them do it right here, right in the heart of Katy, putting houses and businesses and livable structures together.
yeah, I see these apartments. They've got businesses all around us. Yeah, wow. Okay.
And it's called Katy, it's called Mason Business.
Mason, I think it's Mason Creek Park Business. It's right there. I mean, you've seen it. I'm sure you passed by. It's on 10 and close between West Green and Mason on the 10, the feeder road. You can access it from the feeder road. You can access it from the Mason side, north and south. Well, mainly the Mason side, north side is where they're developing all of that, because it was nothing but field when I moved over here. about 13 years ago. And so now they're filling all of that in. Some of them have put warehouses. You have some warehouses further back that were on Academy, but like as you get closer to the street, that's where you can see, like on the further west side, Katy Asian Town, but on the east side of Mason, that's where the new, you can kind of see them filling in businesses and townhomes there.
I put one address that I see over here that kind of drops you right in this area. Yeah. And I want to see how much land this is also. Let me measure this real quick.
I must not be looking at the right one.
Because what came to mind when I was looking at it, I said, yeah, we can live inside of here, but the main thing is the commercial piece. How profitable it would be for the businesses, the Black African theme set up there, right on the strip, just like they have, easily accessible, closer to 99 and 10. It would be in a very good spot.
Okay, so this whole piece I see was 71 acres is what I've kind of come up with, but that's the entire lot. If I just
Yes.
do, let me go, there's a Dollar Tree and a Frost Bank and Taco Cabana on the other side. If we go off the street, there's some land over here, looks like it, but this could be an old view. But it does look like there's some land right off the interstate. Let me see how big this piece is.
So, we're talking about two different projects, right? Right now.
Wait, what?
Candace, Torsha got you looking at something else, because we talking about two different projects right now.
Oh, okay. Uh-oh.
I just thought I'd let you know that, because
Oh,
I don't want to be nowhere near highway. Not that close to highway.
oh,
Or in Katy.
oh. Okay.
As far as the build, but I mean, it's good to do that on another one. Like that could be build number 2, but.
Yeah, they do have a piece of land. It looks like if I'm just looking at the satellite view, it's about 4 acres. I mean, it is right in the middle. It's not in the middle, but it is like there's so much over here. There is a lot there. You could do something similar to this. And looking at this 4 acres versus she's right though. This Business Creek business part. Let me look at the size of that. Just so you can get an idea of square footage. Let's go measure. Okay, 429,480. 429,480 divided by 426. 9 acres, 9.8 acres. So there's your 10 acres right there.
So I think
guess
if we get anything more than that, we're gonna be, I just think we should stick with something we can handle on the first.
Yeah.
One.
If you'd like,
manageable.
I can show you what I just did real quick, but my screen, I don't know which one it's showing.
I see frontage road, I-10.
You see my mouse moving?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so this block right here, this is 10 acres. That's the Mason Creek Business Park right here. And this is everything that's around it, if you can see.
Yeah, 10 acres is fine.
Yeah. So just giving you an idea, if I scroll down, you do have those apartments right there. It looks very similar in size. Obviously, it's not the same type, same shape, but it doesn't look too far off. So, I mean, I just do Google measure real quick so you can see. And it's cutting it off, so let me try a different way. But I mean, this is that apartment complex. It's not the most accurate. So this is a little over the 10. I can already tell. 538, 719 divided by 43560. It's 12. So this apartment complex with all their amenities and things and parking is 12.3 acres.
Mhm.
Okay.
So
yeah,
just
that
to give
looks-
you an idea.
Yeah, I think that's on the opposite side. I'm trying to look. If you look on the other side, if you go north of that,
North? North?
yeah,
Oh.
you see that? That
Yeah.
right there is all like
Yeah, that's the
open
land,
field.
huh?
That's the land. That is
Okay.
the land. And so like right there on where you see the faux, oh yeah, right on that side, that's where the townhomes are. It's like behind there, all going up
So
in the business part. Yeah, off of Merchants Way. All up through there, they got businesses are stacking. This is where the townhome community sits inside of there. Where it has Memorial MRI, you probably can't see it. It's like Tiff Streets. It's different strips right in that little area right next to there. The townhome sits right behind there where the Texana, it's like right in there. And so on the other side, because it's like so close to the feeder and a major street, which is Mason, that was where I was thinking, you know, hey, it would be really nice to do kind of something similar to what Katy Asian Town is doing. Not sure if they have this whole area bought. I think when I did some research, I think someone said that Simon Cowell, who owns, of course, the Katy Mills and all of these malls, he owned it. I don't know what part he sold and whatever, if he still owns that piece, but that area is, you know, a good area for developing the Black businesses there. That's my thought.
This whole chunk that I outlined is 18.8 acres. The first one that I did that showed this undeveloped area that you're saying that is already being built up with the townhomes probably in this area is about 5-6 acres here.
Yeah, I think there's stuff on that now. Because
Yeah.
like if you go on the other side of Merchants Way, on the west side, there's new part drilling, and then you see it's just nothing but green. I mean, all the way to the Katy Asian Town area, which if you keep going west, that's where it is. Yeah, this is where they did all the development.
This
And
is
so,
Katy Asian Town?
yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, so we'll take a look. But I just wanted to give you some idea as far as land size and what they've got on here. You know, and you can take a look. I mean, it's, I normally just pull up Google Maps and the satellite version, so you can start seeing and kind of understanding what the square footage requirement would be. And then, you know, what modeling your development after something is always helpful. If you have something for us to look at, I mean, I'm happy to know about the Asian Town, Indigo, and then, you know, this area not too far, which is Mason Creek. Mason Creek Business
Yeah.
Park.
It's funny, they do have a soul food restaurant up in Asian Town.
Oh, do they? Yeah.
It's called.
It's
Fortune.
not. It's not ours.
It's not ours.
No,
That's what I heard.
I don't think so. I could be wrong.
So I want to give you like a quick example of what I was talking about when I was saying the Chipotle. Let's see how big, I don't know how big this standalone building is, but it's a standalone commercial, right? So they're at 5,800, it's a little bit bigger. But this is 5,800 square feet, right, for this standalone. But you're gonna need, obviously, the parking. So that kind of dictates how much space you need. And they've got all surface. It's kind of a little bit cut off here. Let me drag this here and do something like that real quick. That's an acre. So they've got an acre for 5,800 square feet.
Mhm.
This is a restaurant. I don't know if that's the requirement for the parking. It doesn't look unheard of. They probably get very busy, but they've got an acre for 5,800 square feet. Commercial. So, I mean, you can look at some others, and this could actually be more than one business. I don't know. I'm not looking at the front, but it says the one, but it could be a small strip.
No, that's all that's there.
Okay. And then, you know, Red Robin, these are some good size restaurants, you know. 5,100. So maybe that's the size that they all are kind of, but that's 5,100. And I would assume that this whole piece is theirs for parking requirements as well.
Well, I'm gonna use this tool to look up that property and guy.
Yeah, it's very helpful. I use you know, the measuring just to kind of gauge where we're at. And, also, you know, when I'm looking up the appraisal district, because I go off of the appraisal district when it comes to property lines, because you'll be surprised how many times we've had folks tell us that, you know, the property is in a certain location and it doesn't end up being like where they said. And so I go off of the appraisal district. I see, you know, where the tax is and how it's laid out. And then I come back to Google Maps and look at the property lines overhead.
Trust but verify.
Yeah, you have to. I've been dropped off at the wrong property before because the owner didn't know the actual line, the property boundary. So, but anyways, yeah, you can kind of do this yourself and take a look at it, you know, as a team. You can see what you want to do there. But I mean, I will, like I said, I'll follow up with Dallas. I'll write my summary and he'll probably now Miss Crossley, are you the main contact? Do we just get in touch with you
Yes.
for the team? Okay. All right, and so next steps, I'll have Dallas communicate that with you, and then you let me know. I mean, if you guys are looking at maybe getting going in the next couple months, then no problem. We'll just put some information together, and you guys are welcome to, you know, act on it how you please. But we would love the opportunity to work with the team, and you know, get you guys at least your concept, your idea, and then, you know, make it a reality.
That's what I'm talking about. Making it real.
Oh, yeah. We like to move too. So whenever we get a concept and get ready to go, like, yeah, we'll have it planned out. We like to move.
Okay, good. That's what I like to hear.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you, Candace. I appreciate it. I'm gonna consolidate my notes and share the video with the other people that have some interest so they'll know what we got to do for our next steps and that we are moving forward with this. So.
All right. Well, thank you, Ms. Crossley and Toysha. Am I saying that right? And I see Kirk on
Yes.
here.
Yeah, thank
Okay.
you.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for inviting us, and it was a pleasure talking to all of you guys.
You too. Looking forward to meeting you.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
likewise, bye-bye. Stop.